Greetings and welcome back to the channel. In this video, we will explore the process of manipulating cookies to gain access to restricted sections on websites. Additionally, we'll demonstrate how to establish a reverse shell connection using a custom PHP script. Throughout this tutorial, we'll leverage a range of tools including Nmap, Gobuster, Netcat, and Burp. Before we get going, as always, it is important to note that this content is intended solely for educational purposes and we do not endorse or encourage any illegal activities. And with that said and out of the way, let's dive into the information-packed video to uncover any misconfigurations present in this HackTheBox challenge called Oopsie. As we can see here on screen, we have the Nmap results which show that ports 22 and 80 are open. On port 80, we have an Apache server running, so I decided to load up the website and have a peek at what we can take advantage of. But before proceeding onto the actual website, I have just loaded up the HackTheBox portal here, and as we can see, the first tool that is used to intercept web traffic is a proxy. I have gone through the sections of the site, but it seems like it's covered pretty well, but there seems to be a login page, as mentioned in the services section. A login page might give us a way into the system, so I have opened up Burp and configured Firefox to use it as a proxy. Since we have done this before, I will be linking the other video here, so you can go and watch that to see how it's done. I have switched the intercept on and reloaded the page. Now we can see on our screen in Burp the folder structure, which we can use to our advantage. As we can see, there is a login folder under the CDN CGI, so I will be loading that up onto our browser. Here I have tried various default credentials and it seems like the default ones aren't working, so I have decided to use the guest option instead. Once logged on as guest, I went through the menus to gather more information about this web portal, and I discovered that there is an upload section which is logged down to a user that has admin rights. On our browser, we seem to have a cookie as well, which has details about our login. I have seen these details before under the account sections. As you can see here, these match. I have changed the account ID to a different ID by manipulating the ID in the URL. And now with ID 1, we can see the admin account, including its access ID. Now, since we have all this information about the admin account, we can manipulate the cookie with these details. And as we can see here on screen, now we have an option to upload items. In Kali, we already have a reverse shell PHP payload available to us. It's under web shells and then PHP folders. We can use it since the website employs PHP on this particular server, but we just need to update some parameters so that the shell is sent back to our machine. We will need the IP address, and we can retrieve that by issuing the IP addr command, and then we just grab the IP address of the VPN connection. We will need to deploy it in this particular section here, and we will also need to update the port. Now that we have the files ready, we can go ahead and upload it to the server. Since we don't know exactly the path where this file might be uploaded to, we will use Gobuster to identify possible folders where it might be. After only a few seconds, Gobuster showed us the results, and there seems to be an upload folder, which is pretty obvious in this case, so we will load it onto our URL. I have forgotten to load up Netcat on our Kali instance, so I will do that now and refresh the page. Now, as we can see, we have a reverse shell connection. I went through some files and folders on the server and then used cat along with the grab command to look for anything that might have a password hard-coded in it, in particular files. And we seem to have found the admin credentials for our website. Now let's go through some questions quickly on the HackTheBox portal so that we can gather some more insight about what might be in store for us next. Here I have disabled the Burp as well, as it is no longer needed, and I loaded back up the HackTheBox portal as I was unable to load it before. For the second task, the answer is /cdn-cgi/login, as you can see on screen. Need to include the slash in front as well. We manipulated the cookie, which is the answer for our third task. The ID was found on the admin page here, and we can just copy and paste it here like so. And for task 5, we have used the uploads folder on this particular web server. Now task 6 gave us a little bit more insight, as we seem to be looking for a file that contains the password for Robert, not an admin. So I have loaded up a proper terminal on our shell here, and as we can see, the password we have didn't work. I've looked around and I spotted the db.php file. Now showing the contents of this particular file, we can see the connection string for MySQL. And as we can see here, there is Robert and the password associated to it. Using this password, we have managed to get onto Robert's account. Now we can use the db.php as the answer to task 6 on the HackTheBox portal. Taking a little shortcut here and reviewing what task 7 is about, and it seems to be like there's some group associated with this Robert user. In order to view the groups associated with a particular user, we can use the command id, which will give us the output as shown here. Now in order for us to find out which file has this particular permission associated to it, you can use the find command along with the -group flag. This will look for a file that this group is included in their permissions. After a few seconds, as we can see here, this found us a file which has these particular permissions. Using the ls-la and file commands will give us more details about the file in question. And as we can see here, there is the group name that we mentioned earlier. It is actually linked to it, and as we can see, it has also setuid. A setuid file is a bit that marks an executable to run with the privileges of the owner, which in this case is root. Up next, I decided to run it to see what we get, and I've tried different IDs. It seems like 22 does not exist, and as shown here, the cat command is being used without specifying the full path. We can use this to our advantage and execute something else with the same name. As you can see here, I've tried to use v to insert some text into a file, but it wasn't working as expected over Netcat, so I decided to use the echo command instead and just save it under /tmp. With that done, let's set the executionable bit on the file, and then I will include the /tmp in our path. I will include it at the beginning so that it will be the first hit. And with all those building blocks in place, we can now go ahead and execute bug tracker again and insert the ID, and as we can see, we have another shell that is running as root. If you are still following along, I would appreciate it if you like this video, as that will help it to be seen by more people. Also, maybe you'd like to consider subscribing to this channel so that you will not miss out on future content. Now let's get back into the final stages of this challenge. I went ahead and changed directory to /root. As we can see here, we have the root flag as well, so I'm just going to use V to display it on screen and take note of it here. I will head back to the HackTheBox portal to finish up the last few questions. We issued the find command with the -group option to find the file. For the next question, the root user will be used when running this particular executable. SUID stands for set owner user ID. For task 10, cat was being called in an unsecure way. Unfortunately, I didn't retrieve the user flag, but I am guessing this is going to be under the user Robert. So I'm just going to navigate to his home folder. And as we can see here on screen, we can just open it up and copy and paste it like so. And for the final question, we can just go ahead and submit the root flag we have found earlier. Which brings us to the end of the Oops challenge. As always, we'll see you in the next one. Stay curious, keep learning.